Hello, everyone. My name is Don, the movie reviewer, and today we're going to be talking about Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. This movie is a certified Nolan experience, and if you don't know what that means, well, watch this review because you will find out exactly what I mean.
The enemy tanks have stopped.
Why?
Why waste precious tanks when they can pick us off from the air like fish in a barrel? You can practically see it from here.
What?
Home.
During World War II, Germany advanced into France, trapping Allied troops on the beaches of Dunkirk. The situation sparked the Dunkirk evacuation, also known as the Miracle of Dunkirk. Using every serviceable naval and civilian vessel, 330,000 French, British, Belgian, and Dutch soldiers were safely evacuated from the clutches of the German army. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and make you think that I know absolutely anything about World War II because I'm dumb and I don't. So I'm just going to be judging this as a movie, and so I won't be talking about if this movie is historically accurate or not because I don't know, and I fell asleep during history class. The movie starts with the boy caught in the clutches of the German army, and those opening scenes reminded me of a little movie called 71. It's basically a suspenseful chase movie. I didn't know what the boy was doing because I didn't know anything about him. We catch him caught in these situations where it's all about life or death, and he has to make a choice. Other than that, I really didn't find anything interesting about him. Tom Hardy plays a fighter pilot who always has his face covered in the Christopher Nolan movie. I don't know why Nolan is always trying to cover Tom Hardy's face and muffle his voice. It was kind of distracting every time he talked through the flight helmet because all I heard was,
My brain, yes, that's my name. When you hear the name, Ben, I guarantee the pain. I'm coming after you, Bruce Wayne. I'm stronger, smarter, clinically insane.
Hardy is a handsome man and Nolan needs to stop covering his face. In all seriousness, I liked Hardy's character more so than any other because I felt like his character was an all-around good guy. He was reliable, he was resourceful, and he put his life out on the line to help his fellow comrades. I respected his character even though I didn't know anything about him. Cillian Murphy and Mark Rylance have some pretty good scenes together. I didn't really care for Cillian Murphy's character all that much because he didn't really do anything but whine throughout the entire movie. He's weak. Mark Rylance, on the other hand, had some good heroic moments. I like the majority of his moments because he was an all-around good Samaritan. Like, if you had a cat stuck in a tree, I think he probably would grab his ladder to save that cat even if his back was aching. That's how good of a character he was. He was just a good Samaritan, so I liked him. There are other characters here and there where I understand what they're doing and the parts they play, but ultimately, I didn't care because I never gravitated towards any of them. Tom Hardy is my favorite character in this movie because I don't know, maybe because it's Tom Hardy. His character was just a good guy, and I liked all of his scenes because they were adrenaline pumping, and I felt like I was right there in the cockpit with him. Here's one of the problems that I have with this movie. I couldn't tell Harry Styles and this whitehead guy, whatever that's his last name. I couldn't tell these two characters apart. They both look exactly the same, and so I couldn't tell which one of them was the character I saw during the opening of this movie. Cillian Murphy's character was whiny, but I understood why because he was afraid for his life. But one of the constant problems I had with his character was that every time they tried to present something intriguing with him, they would just cut it short. They would show something, but it wouldn't go anywhere, and it was like the movie was saying, here's an intriguing place to take this character. But you know what? We're just going to present the idea, then just drop it all of a sudden and give no real conclusion. I hate that. Mark Rylance was great. I liked his character, and if I was in a situation that required assistance from somebody, I would call him immediately because he seemed like an overall good person. Everybody else was serviceable, they played their part, but I ultimately didn't care because I didn't really gravitate to any of them. Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite directors. I will watch anything he makes because he crafts movies that are better than sex. The scope takes my breath away. The music excites me. The visuals are lavish enough without being over the top. If Christopher Nolan were to direct a 2-minute movie about him taking a shit, I would watch it and I probably would like it. That's what this movie is. It's a Nolan shit show that pleasures me in all the right places. Take your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking about the cinematic experience. I like Tom Hardy's character, but Nolan needs to stop covering this man's face. I didn't really care for Cillian Murphy's character, but I like Mark Rylance and all of the other choices that his character made. I couldn't tell the difference between Harry Styles' character and this other character because they both looked exactly the same to me. Every other character here was good and serviceable, but I ultimately didn't care because the movie virtually didn't, give them anything to do. Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk is a true cinematic experience for absolute movie lovers. If you don't like movies in general, then I don't think this would satisfy you. I look at it like this. I am a Nolanite, and so I would watch anything that this guy makes, and I probably would like it regardless of how mediocre it may seem. His movies impress me because all of his technical aspects, the visuals, the acting, the directing, the pacing, the music, always play key factors in his movies. They are always great, fantastic stuff. But his storytelling skills may be, all over the place sometimes. But you can't deny the fact that his movies are definitely engaging, and this movie, Dunkirk, is no exception. Giving this movie a grade was a tough decision for me. It was so tough that I had to make a list that ranked Nolan's movies from greatest to least greatest, and here's what I have. I didn't love this movie. I didn't hate this movie either. I just thought it was okay, and I probably would never watch it again. So with all that being said, I give Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk a solid B. I give it a solid B, and that was a really tough decision for me. I look at it like this. It's not his greatest work, and I don't think people who don't care about movies would watch this. This movie is solid for hardcore Nolan fans and movie lovers. I just wish there had been a better story involved here because I look at movies like Hacksaw Ridge and Deepwater Horizon and I say to myself, I love the characters in those movies more so than in Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk because in those movies, the characters had personality that I could attach myself to. Yeah, we didn't know absolutely everything about the characters in Deepwater Horizon, but we got a good enough sense as to who they were as a community of people helping each other out during that disaster. It didn't seem like characters that were just put on screen to advance the story. They had a good enough backstory that shed some light on their personalities, and so with that, we could figure out who people actually were more so than just on a surface level. Anyway, Nolan's Dunkirk is truly a cinematic experience that deserves to be watched on the biggest screen possible in IMAX rich 70mm format. Please watch this movie. If you love movies like I do, if you're a Nolanite like me, please watch this movie in legitimate, and I mean legitimate 70mm IMAX theaters, and stay away from that digital IMAX bullshit because it's not real, okay? It's not real IMAX. You're being ripped off from you're being ripped off from how great IMAX truly is. Nothing beats the 70mm film IMAX. It's truly the greatest movie-going experience ever created. So as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.